Hi, welcome. Smashy Eggman movie reviews and more. Probably should have stuck a thing on the screen for you to know what this site is. So if you I haven't posted anything on here in a very long time. I think the last thing I posted was a Smokey and the Bandit 2 review. I stopped doing reviews for a while. I think I'm gonna get back into it. I definitely have at least two videos I want to shoot. I decided to start with the title. It's Alien Romulus, which I could have stuck a poster of in this video as well, but why? Why? It would just be me awkwardly pointing to things. So I went and saw that last night. I guess yesterday afternoon is when I saw it. I had thoughts. I decided to sleep on them before I jumped into uh, what I actually thought about the movie. Because I have thoughts. I love the Alien films. Uh, they're so great. I have them all down in my collection. Prometheus, Alien Covenant, the original four. I love them all. In fact, if you dig way back to like 2001 on this channel, I do have a ranking video of all the Alien movies uh, where I talk about them all. And I rank them from what I thought was the worst to the best, including the Alien versus Predator films. Um, so this is the first one that's come out since that video, because I'm pretty sure I have Covenant on that one. Uh, so Alien Romulus. This is gonna be a spoiler video. I'm gonna say it straight up out front. This is a spoiler video. I'm just gonna talk. So if you don't want to be spoiled if you haven't seen the movie, please turn this video off. Go see the movie, and then come back and hear my educated thoughts. So I have no education. I'm just a person who likes watching movies, who likes talking about movies, who saw a movie he wants to talk about, and saw it by himself, so I have no one to talk about it with. So overall, it's a fine Alien movie. Do I think it is as good as Alien or Aliens? I think that ship is never going to get met. I don't think any movie's going to be as good as Alien or Aliens. I think you just everyone's dogging for third place here. Do I think this is the third place winner? I don't know. I think it might be a good fourth place. I need to see it again before I'd actually like go back through, look at my old ranking, and see where I'd put it. So it might be a fourth or fifth. Like it's not bad. It's an enjoyable Alien film. It does a lot of stuff right, but the stuff it does wrong is really, really wrong. And that's my problem with it, is that it does a lot of stuff very well, and it's very enjoyable, and then it does some weird stuff that makes very little sense. There's very little character development at the top of the story, um, because Fede Alvarez is trying to get him to the chip. So you get this, and it's a 2 hour long movie, and I feel like you don't get the xenomorph until an hour in. So that first hour could all be character development and world building. And there's some world building, and it's cool world building. There's no character development. They at no point really cared for any of these one note meat bags. That's what they're one note meat bags. You have a person who's pregnant. That's their entire kit. That is it. That's what you get. They are pregnant. You have the asshole. You have the pilot. No, they didn't give anything more to her. The love interest, I guess, which isn't even that well explained. It's also the brother to the pregnant woman. And then you have our main character who ends up just trying to be Ellen Ripley way too hard by the end of this movie. And that's one of the problems. They should have just let her be her own character and not try to recreate Sigourney Weaver. But there's way too many shots. They're like, oh, look at her. She's doing the Sigourney thing. And it's like, don't stop, Fetty. Stop. Just let her be her own person. Um, and then there's also the synth, the android who is called Andy, which bothered me because the first four movies, including Prometheus, follow a very simple naming structure: A, B, C, D. This one should have been an E. He was called Andy. Call him Eric. Call him Aaron. Call him any E name. It's like, Freddy, you dropped the ball on your synths. Because he drops the ball twice. With the two cents in this movie, both of them are ball drops. They all want to get off the planet they're on because it has no sun. It has a sun, but because of the atmosphere, you can't see the sun, and they're all working in mines under contracts to Wayland Yutani. That's the world building I like. I like that part of it. That you get to learn a little more about how awful Wayland Yutani is. I enjoy that, and that part was great, and we got enough of that to be like, yeah, no, I get why you'd want off this damn planet. You don't get enough of these characters and who they are. You get like little pieces of information, like our main character, her parents died in the mine because they can, they were breathing in shit in the mine and they died. And the asshole character doesn't like the synth because a synth chose to save the lives of 8 miners, sacrificing 3, and his mom was one of the 3. So that's understandable. It doesn't make me sympathize for the character. Just like, okay, that's cool. That's a cool bit. I wish we had more fleshed out characters. Um, and also more characters. There's not a lot for the alien to do in this movie because they like they rip through the meat bags real quick. So there's not a lot for the alien to do. So I'm like, why are we wasting an alien? Like at this point, like you can do the secluded one alien thing, and that can work. But you need enough for that alien to do is the secluded one alien thing. Um, but they find that there's a ship that's in orbit. It's decommissioned, and they're going to go investigate. And as they're investigating the ship, it's called the Romulus and the Remus. Um, Historical twins. Old Greek, I think. I think they're Greek. I could be wrong. They could be Roman. Um, but it's an old story, Romulus and Remus, and they're going to go steal um cryopods. They're going to go steal the beds that you sleep in on long space journeys, so they can fly to a planet that's 9 years away. Um, and go live in the sun. The problem is they can't get passes because of their contracts with the company. So they go to steal them from this ship. Once they find out it is the Romulus and Remus is in a ship, it's a space station. Which again, they underutilized. Like if it's a space station, that's great. I needed more characters then. Because I felt like the space station wasn't space stationy enough. Like I'm a person who grew up watching Deep Space Nine. Space stations are huge. This was like, oh, we're gonna just hang out on a single line of this space station and only have depth at moments. Like, yeah, it doesn't have depth the whole time. Like everything feels like it's on a singular level of the ship, which is weird until they find an elevator, which means at some point they went down. And at no point do you see them going down. It just looks like there's, and then all of a sudden they have to take an elevator. But it's to get to somewhere they've been. So they went down at some point. But again, you're not shown them going down. Like even Alien, what was it? Alien Resurrection was a space station. It was a big ass ship. But that one had depth. Like you saw people going up ladders, saw people going down ladders, swimming through. Like it had depth. You knew this thing had size and depth. This one, I just didn't feel the size of the depth. They get into the ship. They find what they're looking for, and they realize it only has 3 years. Like these things are only fueled for a 3-year trip, which is something new and that's interesting to be added in. That the cryopods, aren't running off of like a ship's fuel source. They have their own individual fuel sources that keep you frozen, which raises the question. It's a cool concept. It raises the question if Ellen was frozen for like 80 years between Alien and Aliens, how did that one have that much cryo like sleep in it? Like to keep her in stasis. Like why did that have 80 years? Like why was the escape pod functioned for that long? I'm just mainly asking because now it's raised that question. I've never questioned. No, how the cryopods work until right now. Literally right now, I didn't question it yesterday when I was watching the. I'm questioning it now because how do the cryopods work? Like you have cryopods, how do they work? And now that we're introducing, they need fuel. How the hell was Helen in stasis for so long? Like the fuel should have ran out. Because the escape pod, you'd think you'd get. You're in space. You're talking years, maybe a decade. Maybe you'd put a decade. I don't know. I don't know. Ripley should have been dead by this movie's logic. So again, I can't see. Uh, I can't see the 50 to 60 years in an escape pod. That one seems weird. Um, like if you're telling me the escape pod diverts power from the escape pod itself to the cryo, and then but now you're telling me there's an actual like cryo substance that needs to be. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. They decide to go look for more cryo fuel because it's a 9-year journey to where they need to go. So 3 years ain't cutting it. Um, they find the lab. They find an android smashed to bits whose face we haven't seen yet, and you don't want to see the face. Um, in the lab, they start stealing a full canister of cryo, but it's what's keeping a bunch of facehuggers frozen. Now, I have another question, which comes up later in this movie. Like, I have a question here, and then I have a question lit. You never see a queen at any point in this movie. Do you see a queen alien? They have so many facehuggers. Like, they're clearly cloning the facehuggers. But there's not a queen alien. There's no queen alien. What's making what made the facehugger? Like, oh, I skipped a part. I skipped the beginning. I went straight into characters. They picked up the xenomorph from space that Ripley ejected in the first movie because the xenomorph doesn't need air. It doesn't need warmth to stay alive. These are things I actually accept. Like, if we're going off of it is a weapon created to destroy, sweet, perfect. This is what it needs to be. Um, so they pick, and this is so all the experiments they're doing is off of the original xenomorph. But for some reason, they have hundreds of facehuggers. Maybe not hundreds, but like damn near dozens upon dozens of facehuggers, and they start, thawing and flooping into the standing water in this room. Which again is it like thawed cryo? Like what the hell is there standing water in this room? Um, it goes into lockdown because well things have escaped, and so they have to get busted out of there by upgrading the android with the dead android. Well, not the dead androids, the smashed androids. AI. So they get the door open. Someone gets face hugged. The pilot, who again we have no real interest in, gets face hugged. They reconnect the broken android to the ship so he can tell them what the hell is going on. And now we get our exposition dump. And it's a fine exposition dump. The problem is the android is supposed to be the same model as Ash. So they tried to scan Ian Holmes' face onto the android. It does not work. It looks weird. Like you spend the entire time going, that just looks bad. Like, why is it not just Ian Holmes? I mean, Ian Holmes is dead. You can't do it. Just get an actor that looks like Ian Holmes. Like, there's somebody out there who looks possibly enough like Ian Holmes that you didn't need to do the face scanning thing. Um, the prosthetics, you could have made it passable. But you at least it just looked bad, just bad. So, the chick gets impregnated. She and the asshole flee to the ship where the pregnant lady is. They try to escape. She starts chest bursting, which now it's the weirdest chest burst I've seen. Like I thought Alien Covenant with the basically it didn't have the little slimy fucker. It looked just like a xenomorph. And the weird this one now takes the cake because it doesn't burst all the way through like in the original. It just pushes part of the and I feel like it's because it's a female who got impregnated. and they didn't want to expose her, which is fine. Like, from a production standpoint, that's fine. But from like a this thing is popping out of her chest standpoint, it looks weird. Um, it looks weird. It looks like yeah. And the ship crashes into the Romulus and Remus's loading bay, and everyone gets knocked out as the android and his master and yeah. So now we have an alien. Um, we have our one alien for the movie. I say this because there's more than one alien in this movie, and it makes no fucking sense. Why is there more than one alien in this movie? And how these people have been walking around this goddamn space station for almost an hour, and none of the other aliens went after them. Because yes, they find a nest. They find a nest because the crew's gone, and they never say that like any escape pods ejected. They don't even question where the crew is. It's like, see the fuck space now. Where the hell's the crew? Yeah, the crew's all cocooned and been implanted, and again, where the hell did all these others come from? Cloning. It's all cloning. Um, yeah, they're so, and they apparently don't leave the nest, which aliens tells us that's not true. They'll leave the nest to go hunt, especially if they think there's something there to hunt, and there is. There's peoples, and there are facehuggers loose that are trying to hunt the peoples. So, we get to see the evolutionary point in the xenomorph between the chest burster and the actual fully grown warrior, which was cool. I didn't mind that. The asshole dies. The the pregnant sister, gets taken, and now we've got three characters left for the last hour of this movie. And really, it's one. We're gonna end up with one character for the majority of the end. They go to a lab because not Ian Holm tells them to, where you find out he's somehow been able to reverse engineer the black goo from Prometheus. And it's going to be the next step in human evolution. And they need to take it to Weyland-Yutani to be studied. Um, and he'll let them off the ship if they have the black goo. As they're trying to get to the ship is when they find the nest. That's when the love interest, the kind of love interest, gets speared in the back and hauled off to die. And we find out there's so many more aliens on this ship. We also find out that the sister is alive and hasn't been impregnated because the alien injured her too much, which is okay, that's fine. Why was she cocoon then? Why wasn't she just killed? Um, Not Ripley shoots a bunch of aliens in zero gravity so their acid can't eat through the hull. But we're told that zero gravity will regularly uh, recycle and it'll give gravity back for a moment. So like you inevitably know it's going to eat through the hull. There's an elevator bit, because of course there's an elevator bit. She sends the pregnant woman off because her AI gets injured and she decides to go back for him. The pregnant woman, because she's dying, decides to inject herself with the black goo. The AI is saved. Um, they shoehorn in, stay away from her, you bitch, and it shouldn't have been there. That shouldn't have been there. It's one of the biggest. Like, overall, all this other stuff I'm complaining about, take it or leave it. It's fine. As one, like, they should have cut that. They should have straight out cut that. Um, you get, the escape. They go to freeze the pregnant girl, but she starts having her baby, which now kind of looks like a weird cross between the. It kind of looks like a very elongated engineer that has some other functions that kills her, and then kills the android, and goes to kill the final girl. But no, she saves the day and she kills it. The Romulus and Remus is destroyed. The not engineer is destroyed, and not Sigourney Weaver goes into her cryo sleep to hopefully wake up on the planet of her dreams with Sun. And my biggest problem with this movie is right there. She should have died. They all should have died. This is midquel. They all should have died. Everyone should have died. I think that would have made this a much better movie if everyone had just died. That's my biggest take on it: is everyone should have died. Um, and I get it. I get it. Some people like that happy ending where the heroine lived. No, kill her. She should have died. I could have been a heroic sacrifice. Like she could have not been able to like right the ship, and so oh, I guess this is happening, and taken the not engineer into the rings of the planet she's on. That would have been fine. I would have accepted that death, but I feel like it just should have ended with everyone dying. There shouldn't have been another distress beacon. There shouldn't have been anything. Should have just been death. Yeah. So that's overall Alien Romulus. It's a fine movie. It was enjoyable. I liked it. I had a lot of alien lore problems with it, which is what happens when you get to this point in an installment. Yeah, if you want to check it out, check it out. Alien Romulus. It's fine. It's not the greatest alien movie. It's not the worst alien movie. It's not Alien versus Predator Requiem. So, yeah. Hopefully, I'll be posting more of these. Have a good one.